Hello to all HAEi friends. Hereditary Angioedema International has had a long-standing goal of establishing a worldwide network of accredited angioedema care centers, and we're excited about our collaboration with GALEN, a nonprofit European-based organization of leading clinical and research facilities in the field of allergy and immunology. And we're working with GALEN to establish the GALEN HAE International Angioedema Care Centers of Reference and Excellence. We call them ACARE for short. We believe that GALEN's experience and desire to work with patient advocacy organizations and success in creating a global network of 93 accredited urticaria care centers can be readily duplicated for angioedema. Now, from the all-important patient's perspective, GALEN HAE International ACARE centers will significantly expand skilled HAE care throughout the globe and fulfill HAE International's two fundamental goals. And they are: one, broaden access to modern HAE medicines in countries where they are available, and two, make concerted and systematic efforts to bring modern medicines to countries where there are none. Now, with me today is Professor Markus Maurer, HAE International's Chief Medical Advisor, who is here to answer some important questions about the ACARE program. Professor Maurer has extensive experience working with GALEN in setting up urticaria care centers. Welcome, Professor Maurer.
Hi, Tony. Great to be here. Thank you.
Now let's start out by asking, could you describe for our HAE International friends out there ACARE and the unique cooperation between GALEN and HAE International?
Yes, of course. Of course, Tony, I'll be happy to. So GALEN, the Global Allergy and Asthma European Network, some years back came up with the idea to have a core initiative, Centers of Reference and Excellence. And what this means is that we want for specific diseases to implement networks of centers that provide best care, research centers, advocates that work together on projects and to help patients. And 3 years back, GALEN started the UCARE network, Urticaria Centers of Reference and Excellence, and we learned a lot from this. Actually, Tony, we just broke the 100, so we have 100 UCAREs now. We thought, why not do this for angioedema? And with your help with HAEi, we actually brought it one step further than UCARE, because the GALEN HAEi initiative for angioedema centers of reference and excellence takes on board not just the physician side of things, not just the patient side of things, but truly a combined effort. And that's true, very unique, and it already shows to be very productive.
Yeah, that's great. And along those lines then, Professor Maurer, could you articulate and expanding upon what you talked about that wonderful relationship between patients, and GALEN, very unique one, I might say. What are the overall goals for ACARE?
Yeah, the ACARE network it was really founded and is growing to improve the patient care for all patients with angioedema, of course also for patients with hereditary angioedema. Patients with HAE have a special need for centers of reference and centers of excellence, so that's what ACARE will be there for. And we do this, the whole process, as a peer-reviewed network where all of the ACAREs audit and certify each other with the aim of bringing a strong network to the game that, of course, provides excellent patient care. Yes, that's the cornerstone of this all, but also moves knowledge in angioedema, including hereditary angioedema, by research, by projects, by registry, and also is a network for advocacy and awareness to increase the attention that these diseases, including hereditary angioedema, receive.
Yeah, and I think it's really important that there's a certification process here. Again, as I mentioned earlier, this was something we felt was very important because HAE is a rare disease, and many angioedemas are sort of rare in some cases. Certainly figuring out what type of angioedema a patient has so they can get the appropriate treatment requires really a level of skill. And I think that that's what we were so excited about in terms of affiliating with Galen to establish this process where we can actually certify angioedema care centers. So could you briefly elaborate on the application, the audit, and the certification process for HAEi Friends so they get a good feel for just how sophisticated this program really is and what we're going to bring to the fore in terms of these centers?
Yes. Well, it all started with us sitting together and thinking about the goals and how to reach them. And it was physicians and patients who discussed the aims and also the criteria that we are implementing with this network. We came up with 32 criteria, and they were written up in a paper that just got published, more than 150 authors, including physicians and patients. And these 32 criteria are in an audit checklist. So what this means is that if a center wants to be an ACARE, they reach out to the ACARE office here in Berlin and they apply. Very simple process. It's all on the website, acare-network.com. And you send the application and the reasons why you want to be an ACARE to the ACARE office. And then the next step is that the ACARE office will assign an auditor to you. That's the head or the deputy of another ACARE. They then come to the center to go over these 32 criteria and the deliverables to make sure that all of them are met. And once this is done, the recommendation for the decision goes to the office, goes to the steering committee, and then the center is accredited and receives a certificate that is valid for 2 years. Which is then followed by a re-audit so that we make sure that the high standards, the criteria are being met over time. And by this process, we keep a high standard of quality and we grow as a network because each audit and each re-audit is of course a nice opportunity for one ACARE to talk to another ACARE, to learn from each other and to work together in projects and other initiatives.
Yes, and we just see this as an incredible way to ultimately significantly improve patient care, bring the standard up globally, and obviously there's also very much of a research component, which I know our physician scientists are also very, very excited about. If you could then, to wrap up here, Professor Maurer, could you tell us a little bit about the current status of ACARE? But I'm going to throw a second part of the question in there, and that is based on your experience in the UCARE centers, what do you think we can expect to happen as we get the ACARE program up and running and more centers going as well?
Sure. We're growing fast, Tony. These are exciting times. We have 38 accredited and certified ACAREs. In 23 countries. So there are already 23 countries on this planet that have an ACARE. The strongest regions right now are Europe and Asia with 11 centers each. We have 8 applications and 43 centers who've expressed interest in joining the network. Now, the current crisis is not very good for this process, as you may imagine, because audit visits require the lifting of restrictions. But we're working around this. We've found solutions, so we hope to bring these additional applicants and other centers that are interested on board. Mind you, it took 3 years to reach the goal of 100 UCAREs, of 100 centers for urticaria across the globe. And I'm pretty sure that we will reach this goal for ACARE before the 3-year mark is up, and that we will have an ACARE in every continent of this planet by the end of the year, and hopefully reach the 100 mark way before the 3-year mark.
Well, that's really exciting, Professor Maurer. And the last thing I'll ask is, one of the unique things about Galen and what really attracted Hereditary Angioedema International to them as an organization that could work with us to form ACARE centers was in their actual operating procedures. They it's a must that they work with patients and patient organizations. How do you see that working out as we go forward? And I guess there really aren't any urticaria patient organizations per se. And how do you think that might play out for angioedema? As you well know, we have member organizations, 86 of them, all throughout the globe. And I'm just kind of curious as to how you think that that might work out in terms of the cooperation, collaboration, and what that might mean going forward.
Yeah, thanks, Tony. Clearly, you are a dream partner as HAEi, as the umbrella organization for Galen, which is also a global network. And even with other networks, including UCARE, interaction with patient organization is within the criteria. You must have a link to a patient organization in order to be accredited and to become a UCARE. But ACARE is the evolution of this, because this is not just being linked to a patient organization, but to true partnership with the patient organization. You have affiliates in many countries of the world, in many countries where physicians need help and where they need to interact with patients to implement these centers of excellence and reference. And so we think that this is, it's an experiment, but it's a very exciting experiment and a very promising experiment where true partnership between physicians, patients, and other partners can bring the best to patient care and to improving knowledge and understanding of this disease. So within Galen, everyone is very excited about this partnership, and we're looking at this as a model to implement in other networks that may be created in the future. We have high hopes that we will see so much benefit from this interaction, from this partnership, that many others will follow this and implement networks where patients and physicians truly work together.
Thank you, Professor Maurer, for taking the time to join us today, and thank you for your leadership on establishing this real dream program for hereditary angioedema patients and angioedema patients, and setting up and working with us to set up angioedema care centers all throughout the globe. So once again, thank you, Professor Maurer, and